Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Kilkerran 12, 46% ABV. Dustin, tell us about it.
Another 2021 release. Now, I don't know if the details are as well documented on the Kilkerran releases as far as the 12, as far as what the cask maturation is batch to batch. But I think we're talking, again, 60-40, probably sherry bourbon. But, if you tell me it's 70-30 bourbon sherry, I don't really remember. I've looked at this a couple times, and I've never seen this particular batch like on whiskey based where I got the details. Could be out there now. Who knows?
We try.
Yeah. But I've really been impressed by a couple of these Kilkerran 12s. And I know I saw Malt Review recently gave a very good review. I think it was a prior batch to this one, however. And I believe, Roy Aquavite also had been really praising this one recently. Now, keep in mind, Mike, these are about $100 now here in the States. So it's kind of leaving what most people consider entry-level whiskey prices, even entry-level quality premium Scotch prices.
Yeah, well, natural color, unchill filtered, 46% ABV. Nice golden color, comes in a clear bottle.
Campbelltown and crafted by the Glengyle distillery by the employees of Springbank.
Yep, so we have high expectations. All right, let's get to this one, Dustin. We had the 16s recently. We were not impressed. I have been impressed by other Kilkerrans.
Oh, yeah.
8 to 15. It's hit and miss, buddy. It's hit and miss is what I'm telling you.
And you know what this is doing for me right now, Mike?
More than 16s, dude, I'll tell you that.
It's hitting and missing, though. Up front, I'm like, oh, man, that's got a nice, bold something. And then it kind of, dissipates. I'm trying to kind of target what I'm actually getting here.
It is a bit elusive. There's definitely citrus in here.
Oh, definitely citrus.
A little bit of lime, citrus.
Yeah, there's an earthy element from the barley. There's I want to say a slight peated note coming in here, just ever so slight.
It comes off much more alcohol forward than 46%.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Oh, agreed. It's not like I'm not saying I'm getting alcohol. It just feels dense. It feels rich.
Sometimes citrus hits your nostrils similar to alcohol, too.
I agree with that, especially lime. If it's lemon or lime, it feels sort of...
Nice citrusy element here. Obviously, they're using some probably refilled bourbon cask. Really nice ones, though. I think whatever they've done, these were well preserved.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of oak note, but, hope it doesn't hope it doesn't move into the sour category. It feels like second, third fill, fourth fill bourbon.
That Hazelburn 10 had a little sour to it, but it was in a really good way.
Sure.
So, it can work. It just has to do it right.
You either need to own the sour or the sour owns you in the whiskey. All right.
Refreshing, but yet kind of rich and earthy. So I don't think this is like a thirst-quenching kind of a whiskey. This is maybe not a classic summer whiskey, Mike, but I do think it noses very spring-fall-ish. Much more spring. Citrus
and cream. Vanilla cream, vanilla custard, I would say. Oh, vanilla yogurt almost. Really malty. There's a really nice grain characteristic to it, which I get a lot with this distillery. I mean, that's not uncommon at all. And at the end here, just a little bit of fruit. I would say it's probably mango. Excuse me, not mango. What am I saying? Tangerine, orange. That's yellow, right? Or that's orange. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of tangerine sweetness, a little bit of lemon, lime sweetness, vanilla yogurt, nice little oak. Solid whiskey.
So definitely with you on the vanilla yogurt, but that's a reasonable note. Definitely citrus, more orange than anything else we've had today, but still in that lemon, hint of lime, but definitely some orange citrusy notes coming through.
Fresh, clean.
A lot of earthy barley notes coming through. I want to think of like a dry, barley cereal kind of a thing. Kind of has that kind of note going on. There's a little bit of sourness. The finish, however, is where I go the opposite direction. I get signs of youth. I get a hint of wort note where it gets a little sour, gets a little off-putting. It comes off. That's where I start noticing it's 12 years old versus where the 16s definitely did come off. I don't know if they came off older per se, but they came off lacking youth notes. Whereas that gave me a little bit of a youth note there. Good mouthfeel, good rich boldness. Overall, very nice, well put together whiskey. But that finish is really still kind of dragging it down for me.
Well, for me, the finish doesn't last too terribly long, so that's not really that awful. Kind of falls off a cliff after 15 seconds or so.
Still noticing just enough of it that I don't like.
Now, with water, I'll say this. It comes off a bit more artificial.
Horse glue.
Yeah, something. Yeah, sides of the cask.
Maybe a little hay.
Something farmish. which is weird. I didn't smell that at all. I think that was the grain characteristic.
I was getting a hint of the hay. I wasn't getting the barn or the glue.
And I don't necessarily mind the hay, but the glue note is kind of...
The glue's a little off-putting. The hay is just fine, yeah. The hay actually kind of like. It's nice. Makes you think natural and, you know, crafted. Yeah, I might even be getting maybe like a corn nut almost kind of going on here. A little less on the corn. Like, is there such a thing as a barley nut? I don't know.
Corn husk.
Yeah, but it's interesting. But it's kind of a little... It's not pleasant. It's not unpleasant, but it's not pleasant.
Again, with water, it came off a little bit artificial. I get that sometimes with Bowmores these days, like where I put a little bit of water because I get this little plastic gluish type note that isn't necessarily great, you know, on it. But, you know, so again, I would say definitely neat. I prefer. It's 46%. What do you expect?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not like you got thin from water. It's just, it brought out flavors that are big, bold, rich, and that's what I'm getting on the mouth here, too. Is the youth is really screaming after water. Yeah,
a little rushed, it almost feels like with the cask maturation now. Which it didn't at all without the water, but that's why you put water in. It reveals.
Bringing out more of the...
Imperfection.
It's definitely coming off very much like, still... Maybe not off the still, but very new make-esque. And that's... and
some people like that.
Some people do, and I kind of like it on some of the Springbanks, but Kilkerran's malt has to date not really. I like their malt hidden a little bit more. I guess is what I would say. I think their malt is big, bold, and very powerful. I've heard some people say Springbank malt is like dirty and big, but honestly, I've always thought it was a really nice, beautiful sugar cookie dough with some funk, some salt, but. Very pleasant malt. This is not malt I would drink, but it does beautiful things when you put it with some really strong influence. Yeah,
I totally agree. All right, Dustin, so as far as the whiskey score on this one, I am not going to be favorable to this one. I kind of liked a few things it was doing at first. I do like it better in kind of 16s, but I'm an 85 on this.
So...
I'm being generous. I probably could have said 83 or
Part of me likes this better than the Kilkerran 16s because it's got more flavor up front, has a little bit more mid-palate. It just got more richness on the tongue. But the problem is that finish is so bad, and water turns this thing into being a fairly decent whiskey to a just dog.
Yeah.
Which tells me they're hiding a lot of flaws there when just a little drop. And I put very little water in there, Mike. So I'm going to give it an 81.
Again, I thought it was being generous.
And I've had Kilkerran 12s that were wonderful. So I think this is a sign of batch variation. So I definitely think, I could be, bringing out a little too much bias of what I don't like in younger whiskey.
No, I don't think so because I don't have that same opinion, and I come up with the exact same conclusion. Yeah. Again, I've had ones that I really liked. I prefer this distillery with a stronger cask maturation.
I do, but again, like some of the old 12s, I think the old 12s did better. I think they used a little bit more first fill bourbon or just a less used bourbon, and it gave it a nicer, richer, creamier vanilla note that really just worked.
Are we banging on cask picks? Like always. Which is something, that we always come back to because that's so much of the science of it, or the art of it.
Yeah.
It's just getting the cask maturation right.
Yeah, and also, again, like needing enough time to mature to where some of the youthful notes of the spirit have gone away. And some distilleries can knock it out in a refilled 10-year-old. Some distilleries can't knock it out of a 25-year-old.
No, you're absolutely right.
So,
and here we are. Now, again, I will say the 16s, they really didn't have some of those off-putting notes, as you mentioned before, so I agree with that. But that doesn't mean it still didn't have some of the cask issues that I'm getting with this 12 as well.
Yes, but I tell you what, I wish I brought the 12 I had when I first got the 16. That was a beautiful 12 that made the 16 look like garbage.
Yeah, we will definitely come back to another 12 that's better, because I definitely have had 12s better. As far as I've had maybe 3, this is definitely the
I'm going to keep buying them for sure, Mike, because, again, they're usually hitters. Maybe this one in a year. I don't know. It's not getting touched for a while, so.
We got plenty. We have time with all the time in the world. All right, so those are our thoughts on the whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you next time.